has been Hebrews 10:22 through 25. And it goes like this. With sincere hearts, fully trusting him, for our guilty conscience have been sprinkled with Christ's blood to make us clean, and our bodies have been washed with pure water. Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promises. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to active love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. Thank you, Angie. So, as you guys know, my name is Tene'a. My story or my testimony is what I call my story, but his glory. And that story is anchored in hope. And before I start, I want you guys to think about this thing. In order to realize the worth of the anchor, one needs to feel the stress of the storm. Faith is put to test and best demonstrated during the deepest trials of life. So I was born and raised here in San Diego. Growing up, my mom would always, and my grandma would always tell us and encourage me that God may not come when you call, but he's always on time. And no matter what you go through in life, no matter what life may throw your way, that God will always be faithful and he will always see you through. So as I reflect on my life and the journey that I have been through, I have truly seen God's faithfulness and his restoration despite of my flaws, faults, failures, and brokenness and trials. My journey began, I would say, around the 3rd grade. My mom moved us from this part of town to South Bay. And moving from here to South Bay was, I want to say like a culture shock, because I was one of 3 black girls in the entire 3rd grade. Not only was I the only black girl, but I was the only big black girl in the 3rd grade. So in the 3rd grade and in this new environment, I encountered, and I never shared it with anyone, but I encountered a lot of bullying growing up. And there's one incident in particular that I remember. And I remember the kids, they kick me in the butt. And me being the little heavy girl that I was, sorry guys, but me being the little heavy girl that I was, I remember I'm like trying to chase them and trying to get them. So it created me to be this mean person, where I created this image of myself that nobody wanted to mess with, because I was going to give you a piece of my mind, but then if you bother me, then I was going to have to do something to you. And my cousins and friends will laugh and call me Big Bruiser. So, I enjoyed those things. Sorry. And through it all, like I had this mean demeanor. Nobody wanted to mess with me. But deep inside, all I really wanted to do was be accepted. I just wanted to be accepted. I just wanted people to like me and to, know that I was this nice girl. But in order for me to not have the kids bother me and bully me, then I had to be the big bad girl. So then, on my journey, I continue to try and search for myself and find out who I was. Throughout middle school, it was still the same situation, me trying to find out who I was, me being the outcast, because I'm only one of a handful of black girls within my grade. But by the time I got to the 8th grade, I met a group of friends, so therefore I was like, oh, okay. So it was like I became what I thought I should be, the way I thought this black girl should be. So, I had my friends, we were loud, we would sneak off and get drunk. And, this cycle continued throughout high school. But growing up, my mom and my older sister was so strict on us, it was like a tight leash. So we weren't allowed to go to the parties. We weren't allowed to go to all the, skating ring and things like that, and girls at our age would go to. We were allowed to go to the football games, basketball games, but we better be outside when either my older sister or Miss Morrison pulls up in that red van to pick us up, or else it was going to be trouble. So, I continued on this journey of just trying to find out who I was. And, my group and my clique was Angela and my sister and a few other young ladies that we all hung out with. So once they all graduated, that took me back to square one, where it was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. I don't have no friends. So I convinced my mom during my junior year to allow me to take home studies. And even though I got some resistance from my older sister who said, no, don't let her do that. She's just going to drop out. I was determined to prove her wrong. And so 3 months into my homeschool program, the teacher asked me, so do you want to walk this year or do you want to walk next year? I was like, wait, hold up. I'm graduating? He's like, yeah, you're done. I said, oh no, I want to walk this year. Give me my cap and gown. I want to be done. So, during my junior year, that was like when the shackles kind of came off. And when the shackles kind of came off, I began to hang out. I began to party. My weekends and my weeks consisted of me getting drunk all night, smoking weed, and hanging out with a group of military men, a group of gangbangers, and a group of just regular guys. And, this became, I began to try to seek and find myself. And so it just continued. So maybe about a week before I graduated high school, I was at my cousin's house and I met this guy. I met this guy and he gave me butterflies. He had all the weed I could smoke. He had enough thug appeal for me. So I said, oh, I want him. Yeah, I want him. And, I got with this guy, and all the red flags was there. A little bit after we met, he get incarcerated, but I didn't care. So, he get incarcerated, I'm writing letters, and it's like every time the phone rang, I knew it was him because I would get these butterflies in my belly, this is the one. He is the one for me, and can't nobody tell me nothing different. Well, fast forward a little bit, into us meeting the following year, I ended up finding out that I was pregnant. My mom, she was disappointed. My older sister was disappointed. My brother was disappointed. And, it was thought that abortion would be the best thing because all he was going to do was run off, leave me, and I was going to be a single mom. And so, I was like, no, my mom, she was raised, didn't believe in abortions. So I continued on with my pregnancy. Not too long into my pregnancy, I began to find out that he was cheating. He didn't have a job, I didn't have a job. I had nothing going for myself, so it was just like we had nothing to give to this child. So I made the decision to, I got me a job, made the decision to go back to school, and, about 5 months into my pregnancy, I was told by the doctors that they saw a light spot on my child's heart. So he was going to be born with Down syndrome. But those words came back, and there was only one thing I knew to do, and that was to pray. And I had to begin to remain anchored in the hope of Christ Jesus. And through that, I wrote on my son's ultrasound, praying and just praising God and thanking him for blessing me with a healthy baby, a strong baby, an intelligent baby. And, November 14th of 2002, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy boy. And, my journey continued. And in this journey of mine, it came because, as you know, if you have a baby, ladies, we put on some pounds. And those pounds came with a lot of verbal abuse. Oh, you're fat. No one's going to never want you. You're not worth anything. You don't have nothing. So those things became my identity. That became who I began to see myself through. I was unworthy. Nobody was capable of loving me but my kid's father. So I continued to hold on to who I thought loved me because nobody else wanted me. Here I am, I done gained weight, I got a baby, and what do I have to offer? So I went back to school. I continued to work hard, worked 2 jobs, went to school, obtained my associate's degree in child development. And, I began to just ask God, like, Lord, just show me if this relationship is for me. And I would go to church, and the pastor would say, that man who you with, that is not your husband. That is not the relationship you should be in. I'll be like, well, Lord, I guess that message was for her. That wasn't for me. So I stayed in this relationship, and it wasn't until my life group leader told me, Tene'a, the reason why you can't break free from your kid's father is because you're in bondage to him. And I began to say, oh my gosh, okay, Lord, now I need you to help me. Give me a word. And Galatians 5:1 came to me. For Christ has set us free to live a free life. So take your stand and never allow anyone or anything to put a harness of slavery on you again. I began to meditate on this word day in, day out, day in, day out. I began to meditate on it until it became my reality. And then the more I began to meditate on it, the more God was removing him. Was removing those desires to have him, to, be stuck with him, to feel like, there was no one else out there for me. Well, fast forward, in about 2011, I ended up reconnecting with an ex-boyfriend of mine. And not knowing I still had all these hurts and pains deep inside of me that I was dealing with, I brought those into that relationship. And I unknowingly, the one thing that I feared the most of getting hurt became my reality, because I was so afraid of getting hurt that I wouldn't allow him to come in. So we ended up breaking up, and God spoke to me and said, the thing that you fear the most will become your reality. So when I got that word from God, I said, okay, Lord, I need you to change me. I need you to heal me from the inside out. And in that journey, God brought me to a book, and it's called Lady in Waiting, Becoming God's Best While Waiting for Mr. Right. This book became my game changer, and I began to grow closer to God, and God began to just show me different things. So I was able to, in this midst, I went back to school to pursue my bachelor's degree. That ex-boyfriend of mine, at the end of 2012 in December, he came back into my life. I pursued my degree in my bachelor's degree in human development. In 2014, still on this journey. I'm not perfect. Don't claim to be perfect. I'm completely transparent because I know it's nothing but God that keeps me. And so on March the 7th of 2015, God blessed me, and I had the honor of saying I do to this man after God had to go through and heal me and fix me and repair those things within me that was once broken. On May the 9th, God blessed me to where I was able to walk across the stage. Being a single mom, at this time now I have 5 kids, 2 stepchildren. And, God blessed me to walk across that stage and receive my bachelor's degree. And by the grace of God, come this year, I will start my journey and pursue my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I truly believe that it has been through God's grace I was able to overcome many situations and experiences that have often seemed impossible for a single mom or someone in my similar circumstances or background. Christ has taken my brokenness and made my life complete in him. He has opened the doors of many opportunities for me. It is my hope that God will continue to add to my story, and I pray that my mess will become a message of hope to young women with similar backgrounds. I pray that the pain that I have endured in my life will be used as a healing balm to heal the brokenhearted. It has been through faith, prayer, the word of God, journaling, and my faith in my family that I have been empowered to overcome the trials and tribulations life has thrown my way. As I continue to be anchored in the hope of Jesus Christ, I hope to be a testimony to others of his unfailing love, grace, and mercy. Thank you.